Hello, lovely, and welcome to your reading. Your reading turned out a little bigger than the regular bat reading only because cards flew out, and usually those indicate to me that they have an important message. So I went ahead and used those cards for your reading. So let me go ahead and get started. I first drew an oracle card for you, which kind of gives us the bigger message of the situation at hand, things that you should be aware of, and even where all the energy is flowing towards, and really what is surrounding you at this time. So, as you can see, you have a beautiful little vampire. This is from the Le Vampire Oracle deck. And you have one here. Her little title is called Anti-Hero, Maverick, Risk Taker, and Rule Breaker. Now, what I love about this card, I see her as you in this, and I think this might be a part of why you may be a little unsure of your situation at this time. You may have a lot going on. I feel like especially a lot of emotional stuff is really happening at this time based on your other cards. But before I get too into those cards, I do want to talk about this one. And the message that comes through from the anti-hero card is that you may not always be recognized for the good that you do. Your ideas are going to be a little different. The way you go about things may be a little unconventional. There's just this very unique energy to you, and like I said, it may not be rewarded right away because, people aren't used to that. And it can feel a little lonely for you because you're constantly doing these. You may wonder why you put yourself in these situations where you're essentially kind of a new pave, you're what's it called, paving the road, right? Like you're always venturing into new territory and kind of setting a new standard for those that come after you. So it can be kind of lonely. You may not be getting recognized for it, and you may be doing things that are just different, and that is good because this is who you are. You are a very unique individual, and you're here to do something specific to you. This is your path. So because this card showed up to me, it's just kind of telling me that you need the reassurance that what you are doing right now is the right thing. Even though you may be feeling doubts, it may just feel uncomfortable. But at the same time, if you were taking the safe road, you would get most likely bored with it, and you'd feel almost even stuck. Like you just kind of need this independent, freedom loving energy around you constantly. I think that this is just something that you really just resonate with because it's really who you are. It's just a part of your makeup. So whatever it is that you're struggling with at this time, even though I see your emotions are very heavy with it, I really want you to be true to your authentic self. And if you have choices between a traditional journey and one that's more unconventional, definitely go for the unconventional. There's definitely some risk involved, but that is going to be ultimately rewarding for you and for those around you that you love, particularly children, because I do see children in this spread. So that's really kind of a big message there, that I really think you're on the right path, and to really believe in yourself. Be true to who you are, really do things from an authentic place, and the truth needs no excuse. Things I just don't see. I just feel like you may need some reassurance in that area, that because I don't know if anybody else gives that to you. If people are just doubting your ways, if you are doubting even you doubting yourself. But anyway, I just want you to be really aware of your unique abilities, your talents, your choices of doing things your way, because that's really what you've come here to do. You know, even though this hasn't been an easy path by any means for you, it's kind of something that you are built to do and to get through. It's not easy, but it's far more rewarding. So that's just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind, especially as you move forward and you have to make any choices. So I actually really love that card. That's so fitting. She's a beautiful card. So let's go ahead and move on to the tarot cards. So the first one that came out here, I was kind of trying to think about what is it from your past that you've like kind of experiences, wisdom that you have gained from your past that can really help you with your situations that you are working through at the present moment. And you got this little lovely Page of Wands, which I really like her. She's so cute. She's got a little Miss October. So to me, she's always like this, almost like this pageant queen, right? Which is totally you. You're so gorgeous. So I'm not saying you're a pageant queen, but you know what I mean. It's just like a really beautiful, you know, woman. But at the same time, what the experience that I'm talking about here is, if you can see, she's kind of walked away from this tree in the background. I really like to read the symbolism that stands out to me. So this tree, you know, it kind of looks like it's been picked through. There are some pumpkins left there, but she's kind of picked what she needs and she's moved away from it. So this is kind of, to me, this tree is looking like the past, what's dead. You know, she's picked what she's needed and she's moved forward with her life. And what this card really tells me about you, as far as what you can bring from your past to really help you navigate here in the present moment, is your ability to fall and get right back up. Like, you are a tough cookie. There is not anything that can break you. You are just able to go through so much and be able to somehow get yourself back up and then feel inspired to do something else, and you go and you do it. So it's like, I feel like there's this constant ability for you to kind of renew yourself, almost like very appropriate for a Scorpio. It's like you shed these old skins and then you're like brand new again. So there's all this shedding, and I feel like that's something that you could benefit from doing at this time. If there's something that you are holding on to for, you know, for some reason, if you like feel like it's like a security that you need, you know, you are going to be okay if you let go of that. I just feel like there's something that you may be holding on to here that you could do better with letting go. And this could even be with ideas. You know, it's not even, it doesn't have to be an actual thing or circumstance or person, but it could be just your thoughts, you know, what's motivating you. There's kind of a need to kind of move forward and to have a little bit of renewal for you, something new. Like, I feel like your ability to regenerate is something that you could really benefit from at this time. So there's really this energetic need to kind of shed that old skin and move forward. If there's a new project, if there's something new that you are trying to achieve, that is what you should be going after. And even especially if it involves doing it in an untraditional way that is unique to you, right? So choices, there's just this need to just kind of move away from that and really shed that old skin. Because this is also fire. So this is also speaking of like stepping into your power, right? Like, there's something that may be keeping you from stepping into this position of power. And that's why you really kind of need to release that and be able to do that. And I feel like you've done this before, which is why it's showing up from a gift from your past that you could benefit at this time, because you've done this before. You're good at regenerating yourself. Like, I always think of Madonna, you know, like how many times did she recreate herself? So many times, you know, like she constantly had like this new persona, and everybody loved her for that. I mean, she was just like, nobody's been like her. But you have that ability to really recreate yourself. And it's something that you've had to do. You have experience with this. And this is something that you're really being guided to really try to do in order to move forward. Now the other cards, the rest of these all like fell out together. So I will talk about them one at a time, but it's kind of a similar one message that goes together. But the first one I want to show you is this one here. It's the Knight of Cups. And if there's one thing I do want to point out, these are all cups. So the fact that these are all cups means that this is an emotional issue, right? I mean, of course, there's so much more than just our emotions, but our emotions can really be a big motivating factor. And what is impacting our emotions is obviously also very important. But the first thing I want to address is here the Knight of Cups. Now, this Knight of Cups, usually when this one comes up, and is particularly in your situation, is really kind of telling me to, for you to really look at things for what they truly are. Things may be a little deceiving. What are things that may be looking a little too, like what's under the glitter? What's glamoring you at this time? And the reason I say that is because if you look again, there's a woman and she's on the back of this sea monster. And yes, the sea monster seems to be taking her for a ride, which is also important. Who's taking you for a ride? Like almost saying, here, let me take you, I'll carry you to get candy. But then what's going to be the final outcome? Is he going to like take her to the swamp and drown her? I know this sounds really weird, but this is how I read the cards. So it's almost like you don't know, like to be aware of who you are allowing to influence you, your choices, who you are trusting, right? I'm by no means trying to inflict paranoia on you. Please don't think that. But it's just for you to have this awareness around your surroundings, right? And the choices that you're making. Are they really coming from your authentic self, or is it somebody influencing you to make certain choices that you're not comfortable with, and you may not really be aware of it right away? So that's kind of the warning that comes with the Knight of Cups. I just in this deck, it always comes up when there's something that may need special attention. And this could even be even though it's cups, this could be really looking at the fine print. So even if you're looking at paperwork, or if there are any legal issues, really paying close attention to the fine print, looking at all the details, just not letting yourself be deceived. Is something that is coming up strongly for you. Mercury is about to go retrograde tomorrow on Halloween. So, that's something else with communication and legal matters, documents, that sort of thing. I don't know if that's something that is relevant to you at this time, but it is going to be there for a while. So that, when this comes up, it's just kind of a little thing like, just be aware, have your extra little antenna out there really kind of looking out for you. Now, the other one here, we have the King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups is telling me that you fulfill this role, and this has to do with your children. So the King of Cups is a very creative, artistic person. This really, to me, is you. Even though it's a king, it doesn't matter, it's just a role, and it's the king is like in charge, right? So I see you in this position of being in charge. It's like an artist and a ruler all at once. And your heart is you're always having to choose between your passions and your obligations, right? So, you have like this king in a kingdom who's very loving to his family, and he's also like this I always like to just give this story. this wonderful artist and or musician, and he loves to explore his artistic abilities, but he has a kingdom to rule, so he has that obligation. He can't just go off and be this wandering poor artist on the street that he kind of fantasizes to be, right? So to me, it's telling me that you may be in this situation where you're feeling torn between your obligations and what you want to do. So between needs and desires. So there's this there's this need for balance in these areas. And again, because the main card that came up for you was this anti-hero, it's saying to be true to yourself and choose the path least traveled. So any choices, again, read the fine print, right? Be aware of your surroundings, who's influencing you, who has influence. Be a step ahead of the game. Don't be taken for a ride. And in your choices between your obligations and what you really wish to do, the advice here is to be this risk taker, to be this person that you have grown to be, even though it might be a little unconventional and not so accepted and not necessarily rewarded for right away, but ultimately it's going to be the best choice for you and those involved. And the reason I say that is because the last card that came out is the Three of Cups. Now, in this picture, immediately what I felt was a child energy. Usually with the Three of Cups, it's not really about children, but in this circumstance, this deck reads a little different. I've been seeing that. Like, I actually really like this deck. It just reads very, very different than the traditional tarot. But I see children here. And I see you as here's the King of Cups here, watching over these children. They're being taken care of. They're floating in the water. They're not drowning. They're okay. They're really okay. She almost looks a little worried here, oh my God, are they going to be okay? Just, where they are right now, I hope they don't fall, that sort of thing. There's this kind of sense of worry, but the fact that it's the Three of Cups tells me, yes, they are going to be just fine. Things are going to work out for the better. They really are. The Three of Cups is all about growth. It's all about, it's all about, there's motherhood in there because the three is with the Empress, right? So this is what you've created. They're your children, right? So there's a lot of love here. There's a lot of care. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of nurturing. This is really saying that things are going to be okay. The Three of Cups also marks a celebration. So even though this may not look like it at this time, that's ultimately where it's going. So to me, it looks like, yes, you are kind of having to work through some things that you may be hesitant towards doing. If there are choices you need to make, you may be hesitant to make them based on, your mind's telling you to do one thing and your heart is the other. But really, I think things are going to work out just fine as long as you are true to yourself and not letting anybody else influence you into doing what's not authentically you. You're going to be just fine. And you always come out on top. The fact that you have the King of Cups, you're kind of the ruler of your own domain here. And there's definitely sacrifices that you've had to make along the way, and you probably still will, but you are the ruler of your kingdom. So it kind of comes with the territory. But I really think that it's all going in a positive direction. So I really hope that this reading resonates with you, and I wish you the best. I really think things are going to turn out well. Just have some faith in yourself. Stay true to you. And happy Halloween and Samhain, what you celebrate. And I will talk to you soon. Take care, lovely. Bye-bye.